The day my daughter-in-law pointed at my bedroom and said, "We need this room for the baby," I thought she was joking. I had spent years helping my son and his wife. I paid their bills, opened my home, and gave them a place to start over. But now, standing in the doorway of the room filled with my husband's memories, they were asking me to leave. My own son looked at me and said the words I never thought I would hear. "Mom, it's just a room. Don't make this a big deal." But he didn't know one thing. That room was connected to a secret they had completely forgotten. A secret that could change their entire future. Because the house they thought they owned was never theirs. And the decision I made that day would teach my daughter-in-law a lesson she would never forget. The day my daughter-in-law Emily walked into my bedroom with a paint sample in her hand, I knew something was off. I was standing there holding my late husband's old picture when she casually said, "Mom, don't freak out, okay? We're just making a few changes around here." I smiled and asked, "What kind of changes?" She looked around my room and said, "We need this space for the baby. This room is perfect for the nursery." I froze. For a second, I honestly thought I heard her wrong. "Wait, you mean my bedroom?" Emily gave a little shrug. "Yeah, I mean, you don't really need all this space anymore." Those words hit me like a punch in the gut. Not because of the room. Because of what those words really meant. After everything I had done for my son Daniel, after years of helping them get back on their feet, I was suddenly being treated like I was in the way. Daniel was standing behind her, and I looked at my own son hoping he would say something. Anything. But he just looked down and whispered, "Mom, please don't make this a big deal." A big deal? My entire life had just been reduced to a bedroom they wanted. They had no idea what I knew. They had no idea what was written on those house papers. And they had no clue that the woman they were pushing aside was about to make the biggest decision of their lives. The next morning, I woke up earlier than usual. I sat on the edge of my bed, looking around the room that suddenly didn't feel like mine anymore. My husband's picture was still on the nightstand. His old watch was still inside the drawer. The memories were still there. But the feeling of being wanted was gone. I heard Emily and Daniel talking downstairs. I wasn't trying to listen, but their voices carried through the quiet house. "Once the nursery is ready, everything will finally feel like our home," Emily said. Our home. Those two words stayed in my mind. Because they had forgotten one important detail. This house wasn't theirs. Years ago, when Daniel lost his job and Emily was pregnant with their first child, they came to me desperate for help. "Mom, we just need a little time to get back on our feet," Daniel told me. I didn't hesitate. I opened my home. I paid the bills. I helped them save money. And when they couldn't qualify for a mortgage, I used my life savings to buy this house. The agreement was simple. They could live here and rebuild their lives. But the deed? The legal papers? They were still in my name. I never told them because I didn't want them to feel like they owed me anything. I wanted them to feel like family. But now, family was the reason I felt like a stranger in my own home. That afternoon, I quietly walked into my bedroom closet and pulled out a small locked box. Inside were the documents they had forgotten about. The house papers. My lawyer's card. And one letter I had written years ago. I sat there holding the papers and whispered, "I spent my whole life protecting my family. Maybe it's time I protect myself." That night, I made a phone call. A phone call that would change everything. "Hello, Mr. Carter? I need your help." Because I was done begging for a place in a house that was already mine. The next morning, I walked into Mr. Carter's office with a folder in my hands. For years, I had avoided conflict. I was the kind of mother who always said, "Let it go. Family is more important." But sitting across from my lawyer, I finally admitted something I had been afraid to say. "I don't think my son sees me as his mother anymore," I whispered. Mr. Carter looked through the documents carefully. "Mrs. Wilson, you have every legal right to make your own decisions. The house is yours." Hearing those words felt strange. Not because I didn't know the truth, but because I had spent so many years ignoring it. When I returned home, Emily was already measuring my bedroom walls. She smiled. "Great timing, Mom. We were thinking of putting the crib right here." I looked at the empty space where my husband's chair used to be. The chair she had moved without even asking. I need you both to sit down tonight, I said calmly. Emily looked surprised. Is everything okay? I smiled. Everything is perfectly clear now. That evening, Daniel and Emily sat across from me at the kitchen table. Emily started talking about baby colors and furniture. Daniel was scrolling through his phone. They had no idea what was coming. I placed the folder on the table. What's this? Daniel asked. Something you should have remembered, I replied. He opened it. His face changed. The confidence disappeared. Emily grabbed the papers from him. Wait, this house is still in your name? I nodded. The room went completely silent. For the first time in years, they realized something important. They didn't own my kindness. They had only been living because of it. Daniel looked at me. Mom, you're not serious, right? I took a deep breath. I was serious when I gave you a home. I was serious when I paid your bills. I was serious when I put your needs before mine. My voice shook, but I didn't look away. But I'm serious now too. Emily's expression changed. Are you saying you're kicking us out? I stood up slowly. No. I picked up my keys. I'm saying I'm finally choosing myself. They thought they had taken my room. They never realized. They were about to lose the entire house. The next few days were the quietest days I had ever experienced. For the first time in years, I wasn't waking up early to make breakfast for everyone. I wasn't checking if the bills were paid. I wasn't worrying about whether Daniel and Emily had enough money. I was finally taking care of myself. But inside the house, things were falling apart. Daniel called me 3 times that week. The first call was angry. Mom, this is crazy. You can't just turn everything upside down. I listened quietly. Then I asked, Daniel, when did you start thinking this was your house? There was silence. Because he knew the answer. The second call was different. His voice was softer. Mom, maybe we handled things wrong. Maybe. That one word hurt more than anger. Because after everything I had done, all he could say was maybe. Then came the third call. It was Emily. Can we talk? She asked. I almost laughed. For months, she had walked past me like I was invisible. Now suddenly, she wanted a conversation. We met at a small coffee shop near my new apartment. Emily looked tired. I know I hurt you, she said. I looked at her. You didn't hurt me because you wanted a bigger room for the baby. She lowered her eyes. You hurt me because you made me feel like I didn't belong. For the first time, Emily had no comeback. No excuse. No explanation. Just silence. I was so focused on creating a perfect life for my baby, she whispered, that I forgot the person who helped us build it. Those words were honest. But some wounds don't disappear with one apology. I had spent years giving everything I had. Now I had to learn how to live without feeling guilty for choosing myself. When I returned home, I found a letter waiting at my door. It was from Daniel. I opened it slowly. The first line made my heart stop. Mom, I finally understand what I lost. But the rest of the letter revealed something I never expected. Something that would decide whether our family could ever heal. I held Daniel's letter in my hands for several minutes before I opened it again. My son's handwriting looked the same as it did when he was a little boy writing me Mother's Day cards. But the words inside were different. Mom, I spent so much time worrying about losing the house that I forgot I was losing you. I stopped reading for a moment. Those words touched a place in my heart that I thought had gone cold. Daniel continued. You gave me a home when I had nothing. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And when you needed me to stand up for you. I stayed quiet. A tear rolled down my cheek. Because the hardest pain wasn't what Emily said. It wasn't losing my bedroom. It was watching my own son choose silence when I needed him most. A few weeks later, Daniel and Emily moved into their own apartment. It wasn't a big house. It wasn't perfect. But it was theirs. And for the first time, they learned what it meant to build something without expecting someone else to sacrifice everything. As for me, I didn't move back into my old bedroom. I created a new one. A room filled with my favorite books, my husband's pictures, and memories that belong to me. I learned something important. Love doesn't mean allowing people to walk over you. Being a mother doesn't mean forgetting yourself. And family isn't just about sharing the same last name. It's about respect. Months later, Daniel came to my door with flowers. "Mom," he said, "I know I can't change what happened, but I hope one day you'll forgive me." I looked at my son, the little boy I once held in my arms. The man standing in front of me had finally learned a lesson. "I forgave you a long time ago," I said. "But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means we build something better from here." He hugged me tightly. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I had my son back. I didn't leave because I stopped loving my family. I left because I finally learned that I deserved love too. And that was the greatest gift I ever gave myself.